What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to go over some of the things that Predator Hunting Grounds has said that they have fixed. They have issued out a patch note on their website, also on the PlayStation blog. I'm talking about all of the things that they have fixed that we can kind of expect going in to Predator Hunting Grounds this Friday. They also hinted a little bit at how they're going to be supporting this game down the line, and we're going to go over that as well. Just so you guys know, we're going to be covering Predator Hunting Grounds quite a bit on the channel. I've made loads of videos over the past couple months. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen them, and that's how you've seen the channel. If you guys are new, make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon turned on, because again, starting Friday, probably for like a week or two, maybe even daily uploads about Predator, live streams, gameplay, helping you guys out with the game, lots of stuff all talking about this game. This is really a very special, very big game for me, a game that I've been quite a fan of, a pretty big fan of, but I've also been pretty critical of it as well leading up to it. And you know what? It's honestly important to do that, and they talked about it, and so let's jump into what they kind of said. They mentioned multiple times in this blog, in the patch notes, that that feedback is massively important. That's how they're going to end up supporting this game and fixing things going forward. And I can say personally for me, I think honestly to a lot of people, it seems like a lot of the main issues were addressed in these patch notes. So basically that means that when we jump in Friday, or Thursday night, right, or Friday during the day, whenever you jump in, it should be substantially better than what we played in the trial, because it seems like they've taken a lot of the stuff that we had said during the trial and implemented it. Now, I'm not going to go over everything, because there's probably like 25 to 35 things they fixed. Something, when it comes to patch notes, some things are very, very small, and I don't want to read through every single one, but I do want to highlight a couple of them. And one of them is the stealth of the Predator in terms of his movement. And that is specifically mentioned in the blog, that they have heard loud and clear. And you know what? Again, we've done our part, right? We've said that continuously. That was a big complaint of a lot of you guys when the trial came out, is the Predator makes too much noise. You can hear him coming a mile away. You can tell exactly what direction he's coming from. All that kind of stuff. It's not good enough. And they have said, like, and so, how fixed is it? We won't know until we end up playing the game. But they have said they have fixed that. They've also reduced some of the damage he does. I believe they say in the patch notes that the first and third strike with the combi stick is lowered, so it's going to do a less amount of damage. Now, again, that probably is because when people finally unlocked that staff, basically, they were just dominating, right? When you saw a Predator with that staff, he went in there, he could clean out an entire area, an entire map of the fire team, pretty much. One thing I found kind of interesting is that they talked about the AI, and they talked about how the AI is going to be just overall better. I believe it said like movement, shooting, all things like that. And one of the things, I remember I talked about after that trial was kind of a debate of, well, how do you make it a little bit more difficult for the fire team so that they're kind of, doing something more often, so the Predator can kind of get the jump on them. And one of the things I said is one of the only ways you can really do that is you have to make the AI better. The AI is pretty dumb, right? The AI was about as dumb as they come. Sometimes they wouldn't fire at you. They would walk out. They didn't have any kind of cover system. Now, again, how much is that going to be fixed? We'll have to see. But, the fire team can pretty much wipe out the AI very, very easily. And the Predator, I think, does the most damage and kind of has the best advantage over the fire team when the fire team is busy. And if the fire team isn't busy, then that kind of can get hurt as well, right? So lots of smaller details like that. Some of the some other like combat things, even for the fire team. Some things with the location, that the location is like the places you can pick to kind of be dropped off in the beginning of the map, that is going to be based off of the missions now, versus that you can just pick any of them. So again, reading through them, and you guys can very easily look it up, and the blog post is available as well, and that links right to it, and it's pretty easy to read it there. I'm happy with it. I think that, again, they've said matchmaking, server issues, they know about, and they're working on them, and they'll continue to be worked on as the game launches. That a little bit worries me. That tells me, like, okay, well, we've done a little bit of work. We know that 15 to 20 minutes is way too long for a match, but we're not going to promise like any kind of specific, and not that anybody would, but they're not going to promise a specific time or amount of time that's going to take to get into a match. So I think reading through the patch notes, there are a lot of things improved. I think the biggest issues for a lot of people were fixed. I think that the balance is one of the key things. We talked about that, right? Was the Predator too difficult to play as? And I think early on, I would have probably said after the first, and maybe I have said it in past videos, after that Friday night, that first night of the trial, I would have probably said that the Predator is too underpowered. But then when you get a really good Predator, then you kind of wonder, is the Predator too overpowered? So definitely, it can really go up and down depending on who's playing and, again, like what level they are, like how good, how experienced they are as playing as them. But again, in a game, just in general, like this, you have the balance is the biggest thing. You got to make it so the Predator feels rewarding, but he doesn't feel too like the fire team stands a chance. And as a fire team, you don't want to make them so dominant that they can literally, and we talked about this, right? Do we like that if the fire team like gets the jump on the Predator, that the Predator then becomes like the hunted, right? Because that's not necessarily how it goes. And they have changed it. I believe it said like the amount of time that he can detonate his bomb is lessened. Defusing the bomb is actually harder now. So I think in terms of like the end game quote unquote, meaning like if you kill the Predator, I feel like they tried to fix that. I think healing is a little bit faster. You could toggle like your cloak when you're healing and when you're running away. So I think in terms of when the Predator is injured and on the defensive and running away, I feel like they buffed him up to kind of make him, able to kind of come back, or so that you can probably take out more fire team members than you could. But again, it's going to be really interesting to see when everything comes together, when we're all back into this game, right? Only a few more days at this point, when we're back playing this game again, how these changes actually affect it. So one last part, the end of this video, I do want to discuss this, is the post-launch stuff. And they talked about that they actually have a roadmap for that. Now, I believe they did have a roadmap for Friday the 13th, and as we've really gone through the last couple years, we've seen like different developers do different things with these roadmaps. We see Dead by Daylight do it sometimes. I think actually every year they always have like a loose thing they want to do. Friday the 13th, there's normally other ones like Destiny even will sometimes have it. I like roadmaps. I think they're a good idea. I think they give the community obviously a pretty as clear of an image as you can possibly get without kind of like just promising things in writing, right? At least to see literally. I mean, it is just a map with like different things on it, but we'll get to see that soon. They talked about how it's pretty much done and like ready to go. They're just waiting on it. So we'll probably get to see that soon, but they also said that there's going to be like a free update around 1 month from now. So that'll be very cool. We'll probably get to play this game 2 to 3 weeks, and then bam, there'll be a free update. So we'll have to see what that update is, whether it's a skin, whether it's maybe a new map, whether it's like a new weapon. Again, and we've talked about this, right? What can they do? What can they add to this game to continue it, over months? Because again, this game is going to sell. Okay, this game is absolutely going to sell. People are going to play it. People are going to play it for the first couple weeks, even the first couple months, because there's nothing. Even if they weren't going to get it, maybe they are going to get it now because there's nothing else to get really for a while. I mean, yes, there's a game here and there, but this is becoming a bigger and bigger game, and I think it's going to help out IllFonic more and more, because I think more people are going to be pulled towards this game than otherwise would, just because of all the stuff that's happened around the world. But still, the basic point, the point that I've said really since day one making videos on Predator on this channel, is that they need to support this game, after it launches. They need to give us stuff. And so again, like it could be literally anything. We're going to be talking about, I have a really cool idea that I do want to talk about in a video. I think I'm going to do that Friday, just get it as the first one out there, of something that they could potentially work on and do for like an event, for like a free update that may or may not ever happen. Probably not, but we'll talk about that on Friday. But I think that's good news. I think it's even more important that and it's like a good thing, that they literally acknowledged it now. So not only did they say, hey, these are the things that we've worked on that were like that are good to go for the day one, right? These are the things we learned from the game, which is really cool. They said that. Not everybody always says that. Not every developer always says that with the beta, but I think it is good to know what they've improved on and what they heard as like negatives from that beta or the trial, whatever you want to call it, beta trial, and then they implement it into the base game. It is, I think, just a really good sign in general that this happened, and then an even better sign that they also like kind of say, hey, we know, and I mean, the way they say it is like, okay, the launch is only the start. We have like after launch too, and we're not going to just, give up on this game. There's going to be loads of content afterwards as well. And again, I think that's the best thing you can do. I really do. I think that is very, very important that you support this game 4 months to come. And again, there's lots of different ways to do it. We'll have to see what they choose. Maybe that'll be more telling, right? What they choose to do for that very first update. Is it going to be big? Is it going to be kind of a small thing? How often are we going to get these these updates. Those are kind of things that we'll look to, over the next couple of weeks. But very good to know they're at least, talking about it. They've already worked on it, that they have it ready to go. So a lot of positives here overall. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What are you thinking? You excited for Friday? What do you think about the things that they have fixed? Are you worried about anything still? All that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments below. As I've said in the past videos, we're going to be live streaming this game this Friday night. If anybody wants to play with us, I mentioned that in the last Predator video as well. You can add our PSN. It's just Podcast Now with a space, so Podcast Space Now. It's, I think, a Nathan Drake profile picture that you guys can verify that it's us. If anybody adds us there, I will add you. So if anybody wants to play, we can totally do that. We'll be live streaming it more than just this Friday. We'll do it over the next couple weeks as well. But just so you guys are looking out for that, as well as all the Predator videos we're going to do. I'm going to try and do, like I said, around one a day of all different discussion videos, helping, tips and tricks for gameplay, maybe just, again, like a let's play kind of thing of the game. Lots of different ideas I have, and I'm going to be doing for Predator. So if you guys are into that stuff, you guys have watched me so far, thank you. Obviously, thank you so much for watching me. I do greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos are going up. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all starting on Friday with these Predator videos and going forward.